It's time. Aurelian Soul. Those colors are so cute. Oh my gosh, there's so many different cards that were announced. This is crazy. New keyword Fury. When I kill a unit, grant me 1/1. This is gonna hurt for Shadow Isles cards. Because it's just like, hey, I'm just gonna chump block with my 1/1. And it's like, oh, well, I'm actually gonna buff you. Sorry, girl. There's been so much announced for this. I'm so excited. Poor Poros. Some of the Celestials dominate. Now, there were a lot of Celestials released yesterday. They were released every hour. I will link that down below in the description just because there are a ton of it. I didn't do a video because of the release times being a little all over the place, but I did discuss it on my stream yesterday with other streamers such as Swim and Silverfuse and Kuvira while we played League. So we'll go over all of the cards that were released just today, and I'll link the Celestial cards down below.
The constellations bow to
Oh. Now that's pretty. Now that's pretty. I love it. I really love that. I really love that. We also have Invoke earlier, which was pick between 3 of the Celestial cards to put into your hand. So you can't run the main deck, but you can go and put them in your hand from outside of the deck. It's gonna be really interesting, like looking over these cards and seeing everything together, though. I'm really excited. I love the animation too. Yeah, 0 cost. I do love that puffer though. Sky's Descend, slow deal 15 to all enemies. 2 less for each dragon or celestial ally you have. Whoa. Targon continues to be a no fun around loud region. It's like your cards, you can't play them. They're dead or they're silenced. Oh my gosh, that art is sweet. That was a really cool PV. So first off, we're gonna start with the Fury cards that were released earlier today before the Aurelian Soul release. We start off with the Herald of Dragons, which is a 1/1/2 cost. Dragon allies cost 1 less. Now, this is already making your allies cost even less. When Aurelian Soul leveled up, will make them cost 0 as well for your Celestials. So this is another card that is going to make your cards cost less. There has been already cards released in Targon that just mitigates card costs, and so you could go and put them earlier. So I feel like this could be as a standard 1 or 2 of. I really doubt I'm going to be seeing it ran as a 3. I'm just wondering if really a full Dragons deck will be viable, but we do need to see what else is released with the Aurelian Soul. So far, I feel like this is a so-so. It's gonna feel really bad if you draw a late game and you have nothing else in your hand though, so that's why I feel like it's not as great as potentially some other 2 costs that could feel a little bit better, that could at least invoke or get something else. So we'll see how it goes. I feel like it's a decent-ish card personally. Next is the 4 cost White Flame Protector Fury 4/4. So Fury being when kill a unit, grant me 1/1. I feel like it's a solid stat line. The Fury keyword is nice. I don't really feel like it has too much to it though, unless you're gonna run it into a Dragon's deck. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna run into a Dragon's deck, so I feel like, again, it's alright. It ain't much. Now this is Fused Firebrand, which is a 5-cost 5/5 with Fury as well as Spell Shield, which I think, even though it does cost 1 more, it's instrumentally much better than White Flame Protector. I feel like just that extra cost is completely worth it. You do, in addition to getting the extra stat line, get a better spell shield. So I just feel like Fused Firebrand is just a better version of this card. You do need to keep deck building curve in account when you're thinking about this, though, about what you would rather go and put in that 4 slot, what you would put in that 5 slot. And again, we still don't know what all the cards are, especially for the ones for the release today, so we'll see. But I would definitely put your Fused Firebrand, at least compared to the other dragons. Like, he's definitely up there. He's definitely up there. And lastly, with the dragons, we have Screeching Dragon, which I would say is probably the best out of all of them, because in addition to that Fury mechanic, they have Challenger. It means you're going to be able to challenge those 1/1s, those 2/2s in order to proc Fury so much more easily than if your opponent is just gonna decide not to chump block, such as I said before, when you're going against a Shadow Isles deck. So I feel like out of all the cards here, Screeching Dragon is the best. The reduced stat line I feel like is appropriate as a 4/5 instead of a 5/5, but I still feel like it has so much better utility and the ability to proc the Fury, which will give them 1/1 anyways, that it is the best out of all of these cards. Lastly is the Spell Burst, because Targon loves its burst, baby, which is draw 2 different dragons or grant dragon allies +1/+1. I feel like you would most likely usually just use the draw 2 different dragon allies, unless you're going for a lethal, most likely, and this would also have to be in a mostly dragon deck. I don't know if we're gonna have enough dragons. I'm assuming this is gonna get more support when we do get Shyvana, which has been teased for the upcoming mini expansions. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. I feel like there's probably not enough dragons, even with Aurelian Soul, to maybe really put all of these cards. Like, is it worth it? Is it not? I'm not entirely convinced that compared to some of the other possibilities in Targon, that this is really what you're going to be wanting to go for. Now, next up is the Aurelian Soul cards that were released today. Let's go. Alright, so first up is Aurelian Soul himself, which is... oh my, can we just take a moment to appreciate this artwork? It is absolutely stunning. It's so much more colorful than I would thought that it was going to be, and really encompasses how cosmic and mystical this set really is, with Targon going in. I feel like a lot of the other official art of Aurelian Soul is a little bit more muted colors, so to see him look this absolutely fabulous is a nice sight on the eyes. So we're gonna go and see that he has both the Fury keyword as well as Spell Shield, which are very good. So it's Aurelian Soul, 10 cost, 10/10, play, invoke a Celestial card that costs 7 or more. So if we look at the Celestial cards, the ones that cost 7 or more are going to go and be Cosmic Inspiration, the Destroyer, Tomb of the Universe, the Mortal Fire, Supernova, or Living Legends, and the Scourge, which actually we also have the Great Beyond. So these are just so many different options for versatility's sake. Invoke will give you the option to go and pick one out of 3 of those, which are already some really great cost units on their own. And the random starts is create a random Celestial card in hand. So in addition to when you play it, you're going to be able to get that random Celestial card in hand again and again on that round start with a hefty 10/10 stat line. And even though it does cost 10, there are ways to go and make cards cost less, especially that may even come later, that we may see in the coming releases. Now, the level up condition is run and your allies have 20 plus total power, especially with the invoke on some of these cost 7 or more cards, as well as some of the other ones. I feel like it'll be pretty easy to get here. You have 10/10 stat line based on your own as Aurelian Soul with a spell shield, so you're pretty good. And with dragons, they have the Fury mechanic, so you're gonna get even more pumped with both Aurelian Soul himself as well as his allies. Now, leveled up, Aurelian Soul is a 11/11, so stat line didn't change too much. I don't think it really needed to. The play is the same, though. Round start is create a random celestial card in your hand as before, but it also means your celestial cards cost 0, which is some really good value, especially since, hey, I'm just gonna get a 10/10 Scourge Challenger when I'm summoned, grant me +1/+0 for each celestial card you play this game. Attack of allies +2/+2, overwhelm this round for free. Like, that is something you can actually do, which it's like Exodia. A lot of people have that, like, okay, if you're able to get the win condition, you set up the game. I saw someone on Twitter more so compare him to Call of Colitis from Shadowverse back in the day with Dragoncraft. If any of y'all remember that, I'll put the credit right here, where basically if you put it down, you replace your deck with some new cards, and these are some game-changing, amazing cards, and that's really what Aurelian Soul does. So if you do not take care of Aurelian Soul, you're sort of screwed, because there's these high-value cards, especially upon the level up, that you're able to cost for 0 in addition to your already existing draw that you're going to be getting. And right here, the next card, which is the Infinite Mind Splitter Fury, 8 cost 8/8 round start. Actually, with the 8 cost 8/8, the Infinite Mind Splitter Fury, so it could upgrade itself, as well as play, pick 2 enemies, round start. You will end up stunning those particular enemies, I'm assuming, for so long as they are there. The text is a little confusing with the wording. It took me a few times to really get it, but I feel like that's also another countdown item that you're gonna want to go and get rid of right away. But then if you already have your Aurelian Soul, there isn't really much you can do, and that 8/8 stat line is pretty bonkers. Next is the 6 cost Dragon Invalius Vox, which is also Fury. We see a trend here. When an ally with Fury kills an enemy for the first time each round, create a random dragon in hand. You know, I said before about how I'm not sure like how viable dragons are going to be, but with both this card and so much of the generation that we did see before, I think I'm changing my mind here, that you could actually have a fully dragon deck that focuses on dragons. I'm definitely gonna try it out. I don't know how good it's gonna be in practice, especially since so many of these cards are definitely more high cost, but we do have the ability to ramp as well as make cards cost less, so that is really going to help facilitate this well-oiled machine, and I'm really excited to theorycraft and try this out for myself. Next is the 5 cost burst spell again. Star Shaping. Invoke a celestial card that costs 7 or more, then heal an ally or your Nexus 5. So in addition to the 7+ cost celestial cards that we mentioned before, it could also heal an ally or your Nexus 5. You know, I was hoping that I was Aurelian Soul instead of Soraka, just so we can delay more heal, but I guess I was wrong. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna use it. I'm definitely gonna use it. There is debate of whether you want to put that in your deck as your 5 slot, and I could definitely see Star Shaping as a 1 or 2 of. I've mentioned before that I'm not sure how I feel about all this heal, and this is the fact that the versatility in your choice within the entire Targon region to just let your enemies not do anything is something I don't really feel great about. But I will say that this dragon direction with Fury is something I like a little bit more than what we were seeing before. Next is the 15 cost Aurelian Soul's Disguise Descend. So this is Aurelian Soul's signature card. Deal 15 to all enemies. Top cost 2 less for each dragon or celestial ally you have. Shuffle an Aurelian Soul into your deck. So by the time you play this, even though it is a slow spell, it is going to be costing a lot. I feel like you already are going to have a pretty hefty board, and you may just have an extra Aurelian Soul on your board, so that's already going down to 13 with your Aurelian Soul ally in general. So I feel like this is just, it's a little nuts. It's a little nuts. Maybe in practice it won't be as much as I'm theorizing, especially since your enemy may have removal cards such as Vengeance and Board Clear. But with all of the spell shield that we do see within this archetype in these really large stats, we're definitely going to be seeing more and more removal added to main decks, especially for tournaments where we're going to be seeing some more Targon, which, as I said, it has an answer to almost everything. The versatility, even on the star shaping of being able to heal an ally or your Nexus, is just some crazy value, and I may be overhyping it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. Last is Messenger Sigil, which is the burst shuffle 5 the messengers into your deck. Now, if y'all don't know, a messenger is the adorable star doggo, which is the 2/2 that draws a celestial unit, which is already really good. So you get draw, you get a 2/2 body for 2. I could honestly have seen him even costing 3. He's sort of like a better sentry in a way, because of that draw and that cheap cost. So this is really good, and thankfully it doesn't do too much right away, but the fact that you're getting so much more of that value is in the deck, and just chaining your celestial cards is really good, and it's especially since it's a burst. But you know what? It's Targon. Of course we're seeing more bursts. I'm not surprised by this whatsoever. And lastly, we do have the Messenger Sigil, which is a burst on top of everything. It shuffles 5 of the messengers into your deck, which is a celestial card 2/2 that when it is summoned, it draws a card. Now this is card, you may not think much of it at first, but that card draw value is so good, especially if you're being so cheap and being so darn cute. Let's be real. I do love on the art that it does have the little doggo's face in the stone as a sigil. So I feel like that's a really neat touch, but this card is really good. I feel like you definitely want to include it in your celestial deck to really get that pump on the damage. It's good late game to draw into one of these messengers. So I would probably just go and play this card as soon as possible with the burst. You could play it whenever, and then shuffle 5 of those little pups in your deck, and then you just get infinite hand value. Now let me know what you think of all of these recent releases down in the comments below. I will be linking all the celestial cards as well from yesterday's release. Am I being a little too cautious and overhyped for these Aurelian Soul, Celestial, and Dragon cards? Or do you think it's the appropriate amount of hype and caution?